T's one-off return schooled the field at Road Atlanta, but for Frisha and Kochi, he's much less of a concern. The two drivers have now been locked into a tight championship fight and prepare to mark the halfway point of the season. Who will hold the upper hand at this significant milestone? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch Round 6 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Ryan Bauer, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Zandvoort ran a much faster layout when the Lotus 79 raced here in real life, but thankfully we still get to enjoy this combo here in the virtual world. So let's head to our track guide. Welcome to Zandvoort. This track just to the west of Amsterdam fell into obscurity, but is getting new life in recent times thanks to a resurgence of Formula One fans in the country. Back in the mid-20th century, it hosted the Formula One Dutch Grand Prix for nearly 30 years. Granted, it was on a much faster and more flowing layout. Nowadays, the 5 different versions which are available to be run are mostly tight and technical. The shortest one is a little under a mile, while even the longest only stretches to a little over 2.5 miles. These tiny lengths, plus the narrowness of the track and its lack of long straights, make passing almost maddeningly difficult. The two most common spots are Tarzan, which is the first corner, and Hans Ernst, which is the final chicane. Even though it has recently been updated in the real world with more banking, even on the old track here on iRacing, it has an unusual amount of camber for a road course. The two aforementioned turns, along with Hugenholtz and Schieflock, allow drivers to carry more speed than you'd expect. It also gives drivers a chance to take slightly unusual lines. Like most old-school tracks, runoff is minimal. Mistakes in a few of the faster turns tend to allow no time for recovery and a big repair bill. Another unique quality is the fact that Zandvoort is literally next to the beach on the North Sea. Therefore, the sand easily blows its way onto the track surface and lessens grip. It's a tricky place to race, and even trickier circuit to win at. But with the beautiful surroundings, great history, and a mob of enthusiastic fans donning orange, you can't help but want to go visit this fantastic venue. Well, DJ, I don't know about you, but I'm excited to see Formula One return here. In the meantime, what are you expecting with classic Formula One here?
Well, Joe, I expect a very, very tricky layout. Now, there are some good overtaking opportunities that can come around this track, and that's in that first corner going into Tarzan and then going into Hans Ernst on the end of, let's call it, well, the backstretch, even though it's not exactly a straight corner. But more than anything around this track, it's all going to be about control. We always talk about the ground effects in this Lotus and how they are sucked into the tarmac itself via those Venturi tunnels under the car. Well, the problem is there's so much elevation change and so much difference in the way the track variates is that you can lose a little bit of that suction over the course of the track, and so drivers are going to have to be very, very careful. There are a lot of places to get the car sideways. There are a lot of places that you can just absolutely lose it, and I think more than anything today is going to be a test of car control rather than outright speed.
We'll see who's got that car control right now. It's been Frisha and Kochi who have had the best car control over the course of the season because they are first and second respectively, only separated by 4 points. The significant thing is that Kochi's got 2 wins, but Frisha still has none. It's been a while since he stood atop the steps. And Yuka and Seppa are a long ways back, along with Alex Millward, who unfortunately has had a no score and then a single point in his last round. So definitely time for him to try and gather back up and see if he can get back into this. In the meantime, what are the teams' championships looking like?
Well, those team championships, you can see Wernsteiner Aero's racing team holding a very narrow advantage over equipped Renault Elf. Only 5 points there, with 16 points back of Oblad Williams Racing. There we go. Still in the hunt. Pretty close there as well between Team Essex Lotus, as they've got a decent chance for 3rd, and Parmalat Racing Team in 5th. So, Joe, even though it's a 26-point gap between 1st and 5th, I would say that top step of the podium for the team's championship is still anybody's game this season.
Oh, yeah, that could switch around easily even after today. Now, speaking of today, we have 35 laps that they're going to be doing around here. There's a lot of corners in a short amount of time, but they're still quick at this place. 17 incidents will get them a drive-through penalty, but there's not too many places where they can rack those up. And then 25 will be a disqualification. Open setup. Who can find the downforce and the speed around this track? I have to imagine it's going to be leaning towards the downforce end of things for most drivers, considering all the swift corners that they have to try and navigate. Provisional pole belongs to Trangrade for the time being, but we only have 10 of our 34 drivers having set times. That continues to grow, with the first lap being completed by a good chunk of them now. I see Millward coming across, and we'll see if he can put a good time in. A 24.2 is pretty good. It's going to be pole.
He'll be pretty pleased with that. That top four right now, Dubois, Vascalampi, Trangrade, and Millward. No surprise to anybody. Still looking for some of those other drivers to get the times in. Relatively easy to get a off track around here. You can run wide. Michael de Turk putting in a good time to jump up to P2.
Interestingly, we do not have Gernot Frische here today, but we do, I believe, have Nicola Kochi. No, don't have Nicola either. So our top two in the championship are not here to respond to Alex Millward, who is currently still our quickest. Hovdal, setting his first time because his first lap didn't count, is going to put him at a 24.7. That will have sixth place for the number 2 cars. Trangrade goes quicker and takes the pole back from Millward.
Great run for Trangrade. Millward, however, has 2 corners to go, so we'll see if he can top it. Here comes Pablo Suarez through some of those tricky corners. Lots of banking on this track, and just for viewers who do keep up to date on things, know the new banking has not been added yet that they are installing this year for Formula One.
Looking forward to when iRacing can implement that. At 24.183, Millward back up to the pole by 8 thousandths of a second. He and Trangrade are looking like the ones to watch out for today as we continue to follow Suarez around the track. He is heading out of Vodafone and down the back stretch towards Hans Ernst, looking for his brake markers. I always thought this was a deceptively tricky corner, this one.
It really, really is. But Joe, Michael de Turk bumping his way to the top of the list. Paul Williams coming in with a very good 4th place time. Not to take away from what Pablo is doing here, because it does look like a very impressive lap. Able to get it wound up there pretty well around Kumo and then around Ari Lyondike Bend. Let's see what he's got.
Cross the timing line. It's a 25.6, and that will put him into 21st. Still have about 5 drivers that have yet to set times. One of them there, I didn't see who that was in the barriers apparently. So that was apparently Barry West that we were watching. Massa, in the meantime, with the 29 on his car, has already tried his 2 laps. Neither have counted. West didn't have that one count naturally because of his off track. I see Suarez still has 1 to go, and I think that is it. Yeah, West and Suarez are only 2 remaining able to set a time, and there is currently 2 100ths from 1st to 3rd on the grid.
That's going to make for a very, very interesting race, Joe. And what's going to be particularly tricky about some of this is really the runs coming out of some of these corners. They don't lead into super heavy braking zones, so you're going to be able to get a good draft from some of the drivers in front of you. But the problem is you're not really going to be able to take advantage of it. You're just going to have to put pressure on. The track works a little bit like Brands Hatch in that way. As we watch there, Suarez coming out of the Audi S, working his way through Kumo. Let's see if he is able to improve on that 21st best time.
So far, it seemed like second laps have been the quicker one. And he's out of Lyondike across the line. A 25 flat, that's more than a half a second faster, and that'll get him into 13th. So Can Barry West try and recover from his off track? How much damage does he have as we now head to the starting grid? Michael DeTurk will start on the pole with Alex Millward in second. It'll be Ove Trangerade P3, followed by Williams in fourth. Vascalampi, good enough for fifth despite a lack of practice. Dubois starts sixth and Hovdal down in seventh. Phil Lake coming over as well from the Camel Series, starts eighth today. Hardwick ninth, and Morin will be 10th.
In 11th, it's going to be Severi Seppa, followed by Dylan Freckleton with Pablo Suarez, who we saw run those laps in 13th. Daniel Baker's going to be 14th, and then behind them in row 8, it's Pekka Kalahara and Loic Barba. Pekka Risto will be in 17th, followed by Cristiano Carini, and Timothy Reed and Paolo Alberton round out your top 20.
Guerrero is in 21st, then it's Herner in P22. Moreland in the 23rd spot as Valenzuela starts to his outside. Takabury will be 25th with Simpkins in the 26th spot. You've got Obrota starting P27. West did get a time down. It is 28th, and the final two with times is Kraus and Corsius. Reed, Massa, Oral, and Cullimore will start from the back of the field, having not set times in qualifying. 35 laps here today, and relatively hot tarmac on the track as well, Ryan, DJ, considering we have a partly cloudy day, and we've seen quite a bit of cloud cover during that qualifying session.
Yeah, it's a little bit surprising, Joe, but it's going to have to make sure that drivers are going to have to be a little bit careful. Track can get a little bit slick, especially around some of these quick sweeping corners. Could be a little bit of loss of grip there for them, so it's something they're going to have to keep in mind.
Alrighty, so looking for the rest of them to grid up. We're still waiting on Millward and Trangerade. This is a good chance for the Turk to close in that gap of nearly 100 points up to our leaders. Remember, 60 is the max, and Millward will not get that maximum 60 since he didn't take the 2 bonus points for the pole position, but he can still get 2 more for the fastest lap, so 58 at most for Alex Millward to try and cut that down. I think Alberton and Cullimore are last couple. Cullimore now finds his way out there, and Alberton as well. The engines start to rev as the lights come up. The green flag is out here at Zandvoort. It's not a good start for DeTurk. Millward launches past him. A little bit of 3 wide behind them for 4th place with Paul Williams in the middle there. He's able to get to the inside. They all swing into Tarzan for the first time, and it looks pretty clean throughout the field.
It does. That was a really great start there from Alex Millward, being able to capture on DeTurk. Looks like Williams and Vascalampi really starting to go at it there. I think Dubois moving his way up as well back in that pack. It is an absolute hornet's nest behind this top 3.
Yeah, Trangerade was under attack from Dubois for that 4th position, and Vascalampi, Hovdal, Lake are climbing all over each other. Oh, and it's a bad corner through Shevlock, through Dubois. There goes Vascalampi into Masters. Hovdal takes a peek, can't quite make it in, has to play defense now as Lake tries to poke his nose through, but otherwise in front of it all, Millward and DeTurk are streaking away.
Yeah, they really are opening up about a 1.5-second gap to Paul Williams with all of this action happening in the back of the pack.
Down into Hans Ernst now for the first time. This can be a difficult one, can cause some accidents, as our 2 leaders have got themselves a gap of about 1.5 seconds. Now they come onto the front stretch. As, side by side, and DeTurk's going to take it back as Millward goes goes wide there.
Yeah, he just ran right at the exit of Kumo, but that's going to allow him a little bit of a draft to try to fight back around the outside of Tarzan. There he goes. It's going to be the preferred line, but does the momentum able to switch back to Millward? He's going to stick his nose to the inside here, coming down into the heavy braking zone. Who's going to have it?
Wow, around the outside of Gerlach. That is a crested corner. That is not easy to do, but the battle continues, and DeTurk is going to try and fight back. He really wants this track position. Through Slotemacher, now up into Shevlock once again. He starts to fall back, has to get in line behind Millward. So Alex up to the front after not starting on the pole. He got it away quickly, almost lost it. and is having to fight hard against our pole sitter. This has caught them up a little bit. Williams, Trangrade, and Vascalotti are now very close behind.
Yeah, you and I were saying they were streaking away at the beginning, but not looking like that right now. Paul Williams, though, making a little bit of a mistake coming through turn 9. That'll cost him a little bit of time, and it looks like now that Trangrade may be hungry to try to make a move. There they go, diving into the Hans Ernst corner. Everybody making it through cleanly. This top 5 running together quite well.
Trangrade wants that spot back from the start as they come on to the main straight. Top 5 now are the ones able to split away from the rest of the field as they fly down the pit straight towards Tarzan. Doesn't seem like anybody has enough of a slipstream to try and attack into that first corner. Ooh, and the Turk having a little bit of trouble coming off of that first turn as he had to correct it big time.
It's a very easy thing to do there, Joe. A lot of banking around this track, and that's one of those corners where the banking starts to kind of level out around Tarzan. If you get on the power a little bit too early, it can throw you off. Well, we're going to jump back here. This is 9th place Oscar Hardwick trying to make a good press on Dylan Freckleton.
Very tight fight between them. Now, Freckleton just a moment ago was right behind Hovdal, but he made a mistake through Kumho, and that's what sent him backwards into his clutches. He has since recovered and pulled far away. Instead, Dylan having to play defense. So they now come into the infield portion, the newer part of the track. Seppa also behind them, you can see in the white car, number 4, along with Suarez up from 13th. 2 positions gained there for the 15 car.
Yeah, and this battle really does look like it's seesawing quite a bit. Every time I think that Hardwick's going to make a run on Freckleton, it looks like he makes a little bit of a mistake and allows Seppa to drive in. Now we ride on board with Timu Vascalotti taking a look at Ove Trangrade up in front of him. You can see the differing lines. Whoa, that's a mistake for Trangrade.
Another position lost, and there goes another one as well as Phil Lake is passed into 5th onto the front stretch. That's going to hurt his top end all the way back from Kumho. And we now take a glance at our leaders up in front of them. And it appears that Millward's starting to stretch away from the Turk by about 0.7 of a second. Now that he has gapped him, will he start to be able to increase that distance? Was it the slipstream that the Turk was using to hold on?
Well, Joe, and remember, one of the things we always do talk about in this series is how these cars are affected by different fuel loads. We could be having a little bit of a thing here where the Turk's car is set up for a better long-run pace, and he may be just biding his time a little bit.
Definitely a possibility amongst them. Speaking of drivers and having pace or not, Williams, Vascalotti, Lake, and Trangrade still fighting hard for these 4 positions behind our top 2. You can see splitting into pairs somewhat. Williams the one in the front of them. This is the 3 of Lake on your screen with his traditional dirty torque colors.
Indeed, Phil working his way around there. Looks like Trangrade was just a little bit cautious coming through Kumho right there after he made the mistake last time. It cost him a little bit of time down the main straightaway here, but over the course of the lap, looks like he's very, very good in the twisty bits, so I think there's definitely a chance for him to do well.
Ooh, we might have a change of position behind them. Seppa looking on Hardwick, but not able to outbrake him into that banked first corner. Up to Gerlach once again. Has to size him up as we ride on board with Seppa, who's got a front row view of this fight.
Indeed, he does. There you can see it really starting to get a little bit spicy here. Seppa, I think, doing a very smart thing, not trying to press his advantage too much, letting these 2 drivers ahead of him battle it out a little bit. That's a good move for Severy.
Yeah, he knows it could easily go wrong between them as well. And don't want to be caught up in this. You talked about it earlier. This track is super narrow. That's one of the things they had to do on that repave, is widen a number of parts around this place. Such an old school track, as almost a run there from Freckleton. We've jumped back to Moran, who's a little bit farther behind this, but just up the road you can kind of see. And Hardwick taking a look on the inside, nothing doing.
Yeah, it's the second time he's done that, and each time he's done it, the car's been a little bit twitchy, so I wonder if he maybe has a little bit less downforce in the car, or maybe just running a slightly different configuration. Looks like he's got a good run coming out of Lyondike. That is Hardwick on Freckleton. He's got the gap down to 0.2 of a second. That should be enough to maximize the draft. Let's see if he can make the move into Tarzan.
He's got a good slipstream. He's forced to the inside. Freckleton back to the racing line, using the banking around the outside. They're going to go side by side as they come up towards Gerlach. And in front, Freckleton winds up the victor in that battle. Vascalampi, in the meantime, has had an issue and taken a tow. Oh, a wreck for one of our front runners. He didn't have a lot of practice, and it seems to have bit him.
Oh, Timu's going to be kicking himself about that. But there you saw Hardwick continuing to try to press on Freckleton here. Tried to make a last-minute dive. Ooh, that's a wide run there for him. Carries a lot of momentum. That'll help him out here as they come down through Masters. But I don't think he's really going to get a chance until they get down into Hans Ernst. He's going to have to hope for a good blast here to be able to pull this off.
Don't need to go to it, but Pekka Kalahar also had a off in Shivlak, and he returns without hitting anything. Riding on board with Suarez, watching those two in front, three in front, really. Seppa not able to poke his nose out this time by, but they are nose to tail coming through Hans Ernst.
Yeah, this is going to get very, very interesting once we get down here through Lyondike. Let's see who's got the good run. I think my eyes are going to be a little bit focused on the back there. Seppa looks like he may have something on Hardwick. Let's see if he does. He's right up behind his gearbox. Is he going to poke his nose? Yes, he's going to go to the inside.
Half-hearted defense from Oscar. Oh, but still not quite there. It's looking supremely tough to overtake at this track. Seppa gets right back in line.
It is a little bit tough to overtake, but once again, Joe, as we talked about the fuel loads, let's also remember that these tires on the Lotus 79s are not really built to be changed over the course of a race. So the more they wear in, the better they get. You're a lot tighter. You don't have nearly as much grip at the early stages of the race. And so once we get about 5 laps down the road, then I think the cars will loosen up a little bit. You'll be able to kind of point the nose a little bit harder, and we may see some more aggressive moves on those overtakes.
Ooh, maybe like that one there from Hardwick around the outside of Freckleton, but doesn't manage to get the grip. Could he maybe try an over-under here through Vodafone? He squared off the exit quite well, and though he's only a single car length back, it's just not long enough of a straight. They break for Hans Ernst once more, and all of them don't leave the racing line. They just stick there. 5 in a line, essentially battling for what is 7th place.
Indeed, and it is a heck of a battle. Here they come again. It looked like a little bit of a wide run there, I think, for Morin in the back. Not anybody looking super close. Closest one I can see right now is Seppa, who may be able to have a run, but defense to the outside looks like it's going to hold it as well. Everybody going in easy. Hardwick tries to take a late dive there. Doesn't cost him too much time, though, thankfully.
Love these gloves that we see on there. From Suarez. Oh, and down to the inside of Hugenholtz. It looks like Hardwick might have it this time. No, Freckleton is going to fight back and somehow just drift in front of him in time.
Wow, that is very, very impressive. I thought for sure Oscar had that move done and dusted, but now he's going to have Seppa all over his rear gearbox. Seppa a little bit more patient, but I have to give a lot of credit to Hardwick. I think that's the way you've got to get a pass done. Ooh, there behind Morin, looking a little bit feisty on Suarez. Ooh, there he goes. He's going to try it out on the inside again. Is Hardwick there? He's got a good line on it. Is he going to be able to get the run off of the corner? It looks like he is. It's going to be a straight drag race.
Freckleton's going to have the inside once again, though. It switches back immediately into that hairpin. Oh, and they almost come together, just about forcing the 7 off the track, out of the hairpin portion of that chicane. Freckleton stays ahead. Elbows out, boys.
Elbows out indeed, and Joe, I think there was a little bit of contact. I did see Hardwick pop up into the air ever so slightly as they came down. Now the question is if that compromised any of them. A little bit of weaving there for Seppa. Seppa's got to run. He's going to try down the inside again to Tarzan.
He's getting tired of waiting behind these guys. They're getting too feisty for him, holding him up. But as they break into Tarzan, nobody changes positions. It's still Freckleton 7th, Hardwick 8th, Seppa 9th.
Watch for that late move from Hardwick again, going down. No, nobody's going to take it there.
Starting to see, well, you said before, aggressive moves. I feel like this isn't aggressive anymore. This is getting a bit of desperation out of Oscar. He wants to get by, practically sliding it into Vodafone last time through Sheavlock. Will he attempt that again, or is that a one-off to see whether or not it would stick? They head into the back and forth of these two hairpins through Renault. He's sizing him up. No, he comes back to the racing line, and a defense this time as well from Freckleton just to cover him off.
Yeah, I think he's getting a little bit nervous about it. He knows Hardwick's got more speed. Now, can he get anything on the run? This is that switchback where we saw him have last time. No, he's going to keep it in line again. Maybe try for a better move down Tarzan Way. Let's see what they do. The run now down to Kumho and into Ari Lyondike.
Almost looked like Freckleton was a little off the apex, but then he was able to square off the exit. Still, it wasn't enough. Here comes Hardwick. He is right up behind him as the clouds come over, darkening the front stretch, plunging into the first corner. Hardwick wants it, but he can't have it as he's not alongside.
I think that was a little bit of an opportunistic move from Hardwick. He was never going to make that corner in time, and it just came out to hurt him a little bit. There you see, they're all sticking to the racing line. No move from Hardwick. They're taking that late apex around Hugenholtz. Now onto the backstretch as they start to run up. Again, Hardwick just has so much more speed here, but Freckleton knowing exactly where to place the car to prevent him from moving forward.
I'll be honest, everybody's been so close to each other in this group. My fear is that Freckleton and Hardwick are actually going to come together, and they're going to collect an innocent victim who couldn't get out of the way in time. Something's got to break here. The question is, will it be one of these two, or will somebody else manage to snatch up a valuable couple spots as we ride on board with Seppa? He'd be the first to hit an incident if it does happen, so he'd have to have the quickest reaction time amongst them. Down into Hans Ernst, way too deep into the corner for Freckleton. Is this going to hamper him?
Looks like he was able to relatively gather that back up. The low speed of the corner helping him out just a little bit. Aggressive line there for Hardwick, trying to come through Kumho. Now as they get onto the straight, ooh, I think that little bit of aggressive line may have come back to hurt him. Seppa now looks like he has the run. He's going to poke his nose to the inside. Already has a good run. Going down into Tarzan. No, he thinks better of it. That inside line just not working out for anybody through that first corner.
It actually looked like Seppa started to drop back, too, once he put his nose out into the clean air. Just doesn't have the top speed. A little bit of contact. Once again, Freckleton getting a shot from Hardwick, who suddenly has to fight back against Seppa. They all once again stay in position. Isn't that the second time we've seen those two make contact?
It's the second or third, Joe, and it's not a lot of super aggressive. It's not sort of what we'd call NASCAR banging doors. It's just incidental contact that happens when you are racing this close and this tough.
As we jump up ahead, Phil Lake has been in a bit of a fight. Williams in front of him and Ove Trangrade behind him. Wow, Trangrade is really sliding the thing into the corners, which we're used to seeing from him at this point, but it still doesn't stop looking impressive. Down through Kumho, and then on the throttle, blasting through Lyondike. This thing is going to be mighty, seeing modern F1 cars go through banking, but looks like he didn't get a great exit as he falls away from Lake. Ooh, we got to go to Hardwick. Hardwick is right on top of Freckleton, DJ.
Yes, he is. Little bit of an opposite line there. Oh, interesting. Freckleton now taking a really hard defense down to the inside of Tarzan. Is that going to be his undoing? Tries to go around the outside there. Contact!
And away goes Hardwick into the dirt. He loses multiple spots as he gets it spun around. Seppa picks up where he left off, and the train doesn't even separate amongst them. Well, that one, you have to say, was probably never going to work.
Yeah, that just looked a little bit ill-fated. Came in, I have to say, I think that was a little bit of a pinch there from Hardwick, although I'd put it more up to a racing incident than anything else.
Yeah, had him to the inside, came down, but also Freckleton came up a little bit, but in the end, it was only It was only the likes of Hardwick that had to suffer for it, as we now watch going back to the battle with Lake and Williams. Trangarade has gathered up a bit of what he lost. Much better exit this time onto the main straight. This is for the final step on the podium. Seeing so much cloud cover here by the beach today, keeping the track at least a little bit cool.
Yeah, it's really helping out those track temperatures quite a bit, and not a whole lot of wind either, so everything nice and in a good place. Little bit of opposite lines there, popping back and forth for Williams and Lake. They're definitely getting aggressive, riding on board with Trangrade as he's just eyeing this up ahead of him, seeing what he can see and seeing what he can do.
Boy, he's right on top of that gearbox right now. But when Hardwick's had to come into the pits, he must have gotten too much damage from that hit, as he'll have to take repairs, and that will further hinder his attempts at a good finish today. Down through Renault, Williams still keeping Lake at bay. Oh, he's very wide on the entry to the corner. Does get the exit. If he leaves the door open like that, if I know Phil Lake, one of these days he's going to try and step through.
Yeah, he's going to have to be careful on it. He certainly will try to do it if he is not careful.
Back to Seppa. So one less car in front of him. So only Freckleton to try and beat. But Seppa in times past doesn't seem to have the straight line speed. So let's watch when they get around to the front stretch now. Out of Hans Ernst. Also Suarez, Banker, Risto, Barbie, all promoted behind them. And having joined this train, there's the mistake everybody's been waiting for. Freckleton with an off, and Seppa snatches that up in a hurry behind them. That's not over. Here comes Banker on Suarez, but he gives it up.
Yeah, not going to go for it there. That's the third or fourth time we've seen drivers run wide in that little bit of straight tarmac between Kumho and Lyondike. Very, very easy to do. You just dip a tire off into that sand, and it'll send you around.
As Suarez follows behind out of Hugenholtz, up over Hoensrug, literally translates to Hoens Ridge, and then plunging through Slotemacher. This is part of the original track here into Skivlak, until now finally it'll break away from what it originally was. Veers off to the right through Masters. Impressive that it was only one position loss with that mistake for Freckleton, especially coming on to the pitch straight. I would have thought that everybody would have easily flown by.
Yeah, I would have too, Joe. It's just a good indication there, I think, of his pace, that he was able to keep it up and not have too much problems with it.
Back onto the main straight for the battle for third. Phil Lake still not able to get the charge that he's desiring. Williams has been playing a great defense, not making mistakes out there, making sure that Lake is going to have to work extra hard to snatch that podium spot. This man has also got himself some breathing room. It's up to 2 seconds over Michael de Turk, but their close pace in the qualifying seems like a pretty close pace in the race. That's after 15 laps and only 2 seconds ahead. That's very minor gains for the number 6.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot. They're keeping this pretty close across the board. You know, the gap only being about 2.3 seconds. If Milward makes a mistake, I really think de Turk can be all over his gearbox here any minute.
Yeah, and there you can see de Turk losing a few these last 2 laps, actually a bigger chunk. So maybe there was a hint of the slipstream that was helping Michael in that first section of laps. But as we watch on board with Williams once again at the Dirty Torque, number 3 coming out of Hans Ernst. There's a twitch from Phil Lake. Trangarade sees it, but he doesn't fancy his chances coming into Kumho. Maybe he's setting up for a pass coming out of it, out of Lyondike. No, he was way too far behind.
Yeah, just not playing out there the way he wants to. And there you see Alex Milward responding to what we were saying there, Joe. He is going to go ahead and put the fastest lap of the race down.
An incredible pace up at the front. Wondering if we'll see any sort of mistake from those 2 drivers in their attempts to take victory. There's been 1 win for Milward the Turk yet to take, he's not even been on the podium yet this season. So certainly a hungry number 8 car who I'm sure would at least like a good finish, even if he can't take the win.
Oh, for sure. The Turk here, just you can see piloting it around. Does have to be.
Lake just got it on the inside. Sorry, he got on the inside of Williams, which switches back to the outside coming through Vodafone. And he tries to get the launch. He's got a little bit of an overlap. Now Williams is able to get ahead of him. Does he cover him off? No, he holds the racing line, confident in his speed. It's the closest we've seen Phil get yet.
It certainly is, and that is what I think is the style of overtaking you're going to have to see, is trying to get those moves done at areas where you wouldn't normally expect it. Little bit of a wiggle there from Paul Williams coming out of Kumho. That may cost him 100th or so of a second. Now they get onto the main straightaway. Here comes Phil Lake in the draft. Is he going to try to make a move down Tarzan? No, I think he's lifting a little bit. He looks a little far back.
That just was not gaining on him. I think Lake's got more wing cranked into this thing. He was very good through Tarzan, gained a lot of time. Doesn't seem fast in the straights, but he's catching up in the places where he can't really pass.
Yeah, just not really able to get it up and going there. So I think you're right about the setup changes, and it's one of the things that makes this league so spectacular. You know, on a track like Zandvoort here, it's not really as noticeable as it was, say, last time out at Road Atlanta with those changes. Whew, big wiggles from everybody there as they make their way through those sequence of hairpins.
Oh, lighten them up on the exit, too. Lake's starting to torture those rear tires. And he does it yet again. Car just yawing out as he tries to get on the throttle. We watch from above the helmet of Trangarade. This one looks a lot more smooth for all three of them down into the chicane.
Yeah, very better there. Now they head their way through those final 2 corners. We always talk about how crucial they are. Again, a little bit of wiggle there from Paul Williams. Lake's got an inside run there. I don't know if that's going to help him or not. It was faster through the corner, but he does look like he's got a good draft here. They cross the timing of the scoring line. He's going to try around the outside. At least he's going to think about it. No, Williams is going to stay defensive. Lake is going to try to stick to that inside line, and they're going to stay line astern.
Even at 160 miles an hour and almost tucked up under his wing, Lake just can't seem to get enough of a pull. It's kind of amazing. I don't think I've seen anybody have that much trouble, especially on a track like this where surely they've got to have a lot of wing in it and be punching a huge hole in the air. They come through Sheevlock, still not quite close enough. He's made a couple tries coming here into Renault. Can he get the opportunity this time? He's going to show his nose, and it's almost exactly like what we saw before. This time, though, slightly more timid at the apex.
Yeah, a little bit of a side slide there for all 3 drivers as we continue to watch this battle running on board with Trangrade. I've got to commend Ove here. He knows that we're only 18 laps into this race, and he is not wanting to press an advantage too hard, although he does look a little bit closer.
There it is.
There it is. That's a mistake. That is a mistake from Williams.
That seems to be the key to getting any sort of spot on this track. Keep the pressure on. Wait for it. Stay close. That's exactly what Lake did. And he pounced. Williams falls to 4th. Now can Lake get away? Oh, look at this. Yeah, he's being gobbled up as we go to the replay. I think the pass is going to happen right back onto the front stretch. Yeah, just in deep.
Yeah, just outbraked himself, but the pass actually is going to be between Trangrade and Williams. Williams had a look to the inside, trying to go around Tarzan, and Trangrade got a little bit excited. Now as they work their way through Hugenholtz, that's not going to play out for Ove, so now he's going to be on the attack to Paul Williams. And I think you're right, Joe. I think Williams is running a little bit less wing here.
Yeah, Lake was caught very easily by the 12. But fended him off, breaking late into Tarzan. And Paul Williams maybe fast in a straight line, but he is struggling in this part of the circuit. It's in front of them. Lake slides it sideways, coming upon lap traffic. This is Valenzuela up in front of them, running in 29th. Phil having to go around the outside. Phil should be pretty used to traffic at this point, having run in Camel for so many years.
Yeah, Valenzuela doing a good job to get out of the way there. That car really does look like it has been through the absolute ringer. Kind of surprised it has gotten a meatball flag, if I'm honest. But what that little check up with traffic has done is that has given Paul Williams just a modicum of breathing room over the fast advancing Ove Trangrade.
Same thing with Phil Lake. He's now far enough ahead that Williams isn't able to attack and run his own lines and focus on capitalizing on his strengths, such as through here. And instead, we're going to jump back now that we still have that other battle being led by Freckleton. Seppa, since breaking through, well, the other side has offered him nothing but clear air and has left Freckleton behind. Here comes Suarez with a fantastic run, trying to send it deep, and he's got great braking into the corner, but as much as he was side by side, the outside was not good enough for that number 15.
No, just kind of ran out of track there, unfortunately. Thought he may have had it, but that banking proving not enough. A little bit of a wiggle there from Suarez as well. That may not be great for him. That's Banker trying to take a look in behind. You can see they're about 4/10 behind. Suarez looking very aggressive at this point, crossing over into lap 20. I think he knows it's now or never time, and he's been stuck behind Freckleton just like a lot of these guys have for a long time.
It's starting to notice a bit of a trend here, though, that we keep getting these trains forming up and a lot of drivers being held up with no place to go. We hop on board with Morin. Currently running in P18, a little bit farther down in the pack. Started from 10th. Certainly probably not happy about where he is right now. Simpkins in front of him. Can he make a recovery drive back through? Doesn't seem to be quick enough down the backstretch. And even though he shows his nose, there is no pass made into Hans Ernst. Back to Trangrade once again. It has gone from a 3-car fight to a 2-car fight. Lake has checked out.
Yeah, he really has, and you saw it flash across your screen. Actually set the fastest lap of the race now that he's done that. And so now it's down to Ove. That's a great run for him there, but he's not going to be able to make the move really into Masters as they get down into this twisty turn 9 there. Ove going to try to hope to have a move or something opposite lines as they work their way through turn 10 and back onto that sort of curving back straightaway before the Audi S.
Just above the helmet of the number 10. Still once more, he finds it difficult to try and get close enough. And in fact, I'm trying to think, have we seen many passes that genuinely were an attack and not just simply jumping on somebody slipping up in front of them?
Not really, Joe. It's really been a matter of, let's not call it attrition, but let's call it error here today that we have seen people gain and lose positions. So that's really just what you've got to do. But we jump back here to that close battle that we have been keeping an eye on, that Freckleton, Suarez, and Banker fight, all for P8.
So the number 11 started this race in the 12th spot, has managed to get up to 8th. He was in 7th for a brief while and has been bleeding those positions down the front stretch. Suarez closes down and looks very good on the brakes into Tarzan. If he could get at least close to alongside him, it looks to me like Suarez should be able to outbrake him into that first corner.
Yeah, I agree. Suarez, throughout this entire race, has looked very, very good on the binders. Clearly has that brake bias and locking set just the way he wants it, and he's really taking full advantage of it. But it's just a matter of being able to get close enough.
We are well past halfway in this race as well, so laps are starting to tick down. Does he feel some more urgency after this? And you have to think that Trangrade, who started in 3rd, is not going to be satisfied with a 5th place. He may be ranked 10th according to his number. Ooh, and this one is close. But Williams, who has got this thing set up for straight line speed once again, just teases the number 10 car by the time they reach the braking for Tarzan hairpin. Trangrade that time did set the fastest lap of the race. So clearly there is pace in that Honda liveried machine. Just he can't do anything with it right now.
Yeah, and that's really what we've seen. I mean, if you look at Phil Lake ahead, just being held up behind Williams, not able to make that move whatsoever. I think Trangrade's best bet is just to throw a surprise move into a light braking zone, a place that he's not going to expect it. That's got to be what he's got to do to try to get by here. That's where it looks like he has the best chance. May have a little bit of help. I think they're going to be coming up on some lap traffic here relatively soon as well.
You mentioned attrition not long ago. We've already lost a whole slate of drivers. Alberton, Bascalapi, Cullimore, Corsius, and Hardwick have DNF'd. I think Morin might have joined them as he came into pit lane. Not sure what precipitated that. We'll try and look into it a little later as we continue to watch Ove Trangrade, the Norwegian, trying to chase down the UK&I driver Paul Williams in front of him. Yeah, Williams is going to be too far away from what we've seen of his speed right here. So onto the front stretch, easily at arm's length from the number 10.
And there you see your leader not exactly being happy with somebody that far behind him setting the fastest lap as Millward goes through and sets the fastest lap of the race. Haven't given a lot of screen time to the number 6 up here, but he has drove a very, very clean race, very consistent, been able to work the gap to Michael de Turk up to about 4 seconds.
Alex is on a mission today. He wants those 58 points. Now, right now, obviously, he does hold that bonus for fastest lap, but it tends to decrease more and more each time around in this field in the Lotus 79. A little bit of a look there from the 15, and it seemed for a brief moment as Suarez just poking his nose back and forth on Freckleton. We hop on board with him.
And just seeing what he can do here, if there's anything to have. Once again, I think he's got to try to throw a sneaky move here. That seems to be the best way to get anything done.
Definitely trying to show himself here and there. Just getting a little bit of clean air on that wing. But still not getting him exactly what he's been looking for. He has the same thing going on behind him. That's always the worst when you're the meat in the sandwich. As Daniel Banker back there in the number 19 would surely love that 9th place as well as the 8th place of Freckleton.
Yeah, indeed. And really with Banker, you know, he's just trying to see what he can do. I haven't seen a whole lot of aggressive pace out of him over the course of this race. Ooh, that's a little bit wide there for Suarez. Doesn't look like it cost him, but came very dangerously close to making that error we've seen quite a few drivers make over the course of the race.
Now those wheels kicked out a little bit over the curb. Some of these curbs can be a little bit tall, so I don't imagine you'd want to touch them with this car since it likes to stay as flush to the ground as possible to be fast. Here we ride on board with the Scandinavian once again. Curious if there's a story behind his helmet design. Not one that I see a lot with the stars speckled over it.
I couldn't tell you on that one, Joe, but the next time we have him in the booth, we'll have to remember to ask him that question. All right, so there they come diving down into Hans Ernst again. A little bit of an offline there run for Paul Williams, just trying to carry some momentum, use that banking to his advantage. Now, they are going to have some lap traffic up the road in the form of Timothy Reed. He's about 6 seconds up the road. De Turk and Lake still need to get around him. Maybe that's the fly in the ointment that Trangrade needs to get by Williams.
Could be. As they break down into Tarzan. He's not going to have that this time, at least. This front group really is putting some incredible pace down. Once you get down to about Matthias Hovdal in 6th place, there's a 17-second gap back to Severi Seppa in 7th. So everyone from 1st to 6th has really figured this track out, and everybody behind seems to be struggling. We once again turn our attention to Phil Lake, not because he's having to fight Williams again, but because he's run down to Turk.
Certainly has, putting in some good lap times there. Looking at it, it looks like de Turk had a little bit of a scruffy lap last time out, lost a couple of tenths of a second, probably about half a second to Lake, but he's just been able to close this in. So let's see what the New Yorkers got here. Maybe we've got a little bit of action on the podium up to come.
Yeah, I wonder what in and around the lake has in and around the beach today, because the 3 at one point had the fastest lap, has clearly got speed. Almost wondering if he does get by Deturk, if we could take a look then at what his pace is compared to Millward. Could he maybe run down that number 6 in these last few laps? He'll have a decent gap to try and do it. Now he is definitely there within about 0.2 of a second of Michael Deturk. Phil Lake, though, already knows what it's like to get caught up behind a car. He's got the lap traffic. This could provide a pick. Otherwise, he's going to have to wait for another slip-up.
Yes, he is, but I think that outright pace coming from Lake may really help him. He is on an absolute charge. There you see that lap traffic ahead of him. That is Stephen Orrell that they're going to be coming in on. Yeah, just a slow and steady pull down there. Looks like a couple of mistakes maybe from Millward. Yeah, those last 2 laps really caught him.
Just a sudden surge from the number 3 car. So Deturk approaches behind Orrell and Kraus in their fight. Are they heads up right now? Do they know that these two are fighting for one of the higher positions on track? Or are they too distracted, squabbling with one another down through Hans Ernst? And he's now right on top of Orrell. In fact, he's going to get checked up a little bit. Orrell sees it, sees the blue flags, lets them by. Oh, this is looking very good for Lake. But remember, he seems to have a lot of wing in the car today. Will it bite him up against Deturk as well? I don't know. Deturk looks like he is feeling the pressure. He goes to the inside, trying to pull the slipstream off of Kraus. It tows both of them along, once again trying to cover the defensive line. And it looks like Deturk will live to fight another day, but Lake is making him feel it.
He certainly is, and I think that lap traffic actually saved Deturk there. Not trying to make a move down into Hugenholtz. There is Phil Lake, but he's still got time. 8 laps to go. Good speed. Ove Trangerade also catching up. Now they have to deal with that lap traffic, so this is going to get interesting as well.
Indeed, and there's multiple cars going to be involved in this one, as pulling offline just about looked like Williams might have been held up a moment. Going around the outside, Trangerade, can he keep the overlap? Oh, it's just not quite there. Thought for sure that he had that one worked out, because he would have had the inside through Vodafone. Time to square up and try again later.
Yeah, he's still got Bill Kraus ahead of him now. Is he going to be held up? It looks a little bit. Yes, that's going to hold up Williams through the Audi S ever so slightly. That'll help him.
They're going to come onto the front stretch soon. Maybe this is what Trangerade was wanting. He's right on top of him. What is the lap car going to do now as they come around? He's going to stay down to the inside. Once again, both of them trying to pull the slipstream. But Trangerade is stuck. Williams won't let him have it, and even the lap traffic isn't giving him the opportunities. Behind them, Matthias Hovdal is starting to close back in.
Yeah, Hovdal's taking advantage of all of this squabbling. He's got the gap down to about a second. So this could be a 3-way fight before we know it.
Now, in front of Millward and Deturk, I don't know if Alex is managing the gap, but it's come down slightly to about 2.9 seconds. Oh, and I thought Lake was thinking about a move to the inside of Masters. That would have been ultra scary. It didn't stick his nose in, but he's trying to see if he can rattle something out of the number 8.
Yeah, indeed he is. Wide exit there, or entrance there, coming into turn 10. I don't think he's going to have it. Oh, he's going to take a look, but he's going to back off. Yeah, this is all the psychological game here, Joe, just trying to see what he can do. Closes up a little bit mid-corner there through Hans Ernst as they get ready to kick back onto the main straightaway.
Phil Lake trying to get the power down, trying to make sure he's got enough of a run. He was a little tired of the apex through Lyondike. Here's his best run yet, coming up to the front stretch, coming up to Tarzan. As they go to the braking, he's good on the binders, but Lake can't get by him. Tries to get the power down and the wheels spin. Does he dare into Hugenholtz? He's right on top of him, gives him a bump to behind. Hopefully that didn't damage the gearbox or the wing of Phil Lake, but now it's starting to come to a little roughing up.
Yes, it is. And, looking at Lake's line there, I'm starting to think if maybe the way to get past into Tarzan, maybe an over-under maneuver. Now, the only catch to that is Michael DeTurk is very wise to it. He parked the car at the apex where he prevented him from going there. But Lake's tenacity here may pay off. I think he's just going to have to throw this in and pray it sticks here at some point.
Down into Vodafone once again. 6 laps to go. 5.5 really at this point. Lake sizing him up. He's keeping it within range, but he's not as close as he was last time. And the car's starting to slide around a lot as we once again head behind them to Trangerade and Williams. Certainly will as he goes a little wide off of Hans Ernst himself. Oh, and Lake's had a problem. Lake is off into the grass. This is at Lyondike. It's that same spot, that same error that so many have made today.
Indeed, Joe. Just got those left side tires onto the sand here, and that kicked him out. Let's watch it as they come down. Lake just pushing so hard, trying to catch up. Lines it in, gets through Kumho and onto that little straightaway. Oh no, that's my bad. He just carried too much speed. I talked about what happens on the light fuel loads of these cars, that they really loosen up. That's just a little bit of oversteer. The rear end just ungripping and snapping away from him.
Sad to see after what was a brilliant drive there from Phil Lake, but credit to DeTurk, he withstood the pressure and made his rival crack instead of himself. What will happen between these two? Trangerade wants to give it a go and sends it in down into Renault. Given space at the apex, Williams says you got to do better than that.
Yes, he does. Paul putting up a very stout defense here, and I gotta love to see it, but Trangerade helping to not be denied.
Will one of these two find themselves buckling under the pressure, or will they be able to make it to the finish without a major error or an off track? Williams playing the role of DeTurk in this duo, just trying to keep the mistakes away. Hasn't been perfect today, little bobbles here and there. Trangerade will be right underneath that rear wing, but you can see he's even falling back with the toe pulling him along here on the straight. Williams doesn't defend down into Tarzan. That is still Hovdal that we get glances of behind them, as this is the 6 of Alex Millward. Again, even though he's going to have 58 points, it's not going to get him the championship lead over our top 2 with nearly 100 points to try and make up to them.
No, it does not, but it does set up an opportunity for Millward that he's going to just have himself in better position were something to happen to our championship leaders right now. But we jump back to that battle with Williams and Trangerade. Williams looking a little bit scared there, starting to take some more defensive lines to try to pop it off. Trangerade maybe trying to go around the outside. No, that's not going to work.
He's gone left, he's gone right. Neither one is working so far. And Hovdal's now very close. And this might be bad news because Hovdal's known for liking a very fast car in a straight line. I don't know if he's done that today in this car, but if it goes by our history of him, once he gets close to these two, he could make easy work of both of them.
He could indeed. Ooh, a little bit of a wide run there for Ove Trangerade coming in that same area that we saw Phil Lake have a problem in. Here they come onto the main straightaway. Got a little bit of lap traffic in front of them, but 2 seconds up the road. That's Barry West, I believe. Hovdal able to close in a little bit, but not enough to make an impact.
Don't need to go to it, but Risto had an off in Masters. That was a spin on his own. Pekka able to get the car going once again. Oh, as what happened here with, that was not Williams. I turned around. Barry West had the same team colors as Williams, and so they were simply lapping him.
Yeah, they'll throw you off every once in a while when you see it. Looks like they're separating out here a little bit as they make their way through the back end of this track. Trangerade falling back to about 0.5 of a second. Hovdal in the same vicinity, but closes up there a little bit through turn 9.
Oh, no. And Reed is off. That is also Robert Simpkins. That was for position. Kumho instead had a different incident this time. Simpkins getting into the back of him and turning him around. Let's take a look at the replay.
All right, so this is coming out of Hans Ernst. Watching Reed here in that multicolored dark machine. Comes in through Kumho. Carries too much speed and just right into the back.
Looked like it may have been a tiny bit of netcode too. But regardless, that cost both of them dearly. On board with Hovdal, who has now returned it to a 3-car fight, as it was before, back when we had Phil Lake. By the way, Lake still in 6th place, but not expecting him to go much higher than that with only 2 laps to go.
Yeah, and his gap up is about 4.5 seconds to Hovdal, so I don't think he's going to move anywhere from that. But with 2 to go, this is the closest I've seen Matthias Hovdal be able to get to Ove Trangrade, so the tables may be turning here slightly, Joe.
Absolutely. But I have to wonder, is there going to be desperate moves? Well, right there is a look down to the inside of Vodafone. Trangrade can't quite get it past Williams. Starting to see drivers pull some things you wouldn't normally see in Hovdal. Gets very close to the gearbox of the Norwegian on top of that. What's it going to look like down the front stretch? He is now easily amongst these 2.
Yes, he is. Very big check up there for Hovdal. I think that may have cost him a little bit. But as we cross over here, there is your leader taking the white flag. So it is now or never time for this 3-way battle for 3rd place.
Nobody able to get close to each other. They all stay equidistant apart down the front stretch, unfortunately. Hovdal's going to have to do something creative at this finish. This is our closest battle amongst the front runners, and this is to decide the podium. Williams promoted back up to 3rd after Lake had his off just a few laps ago. Who is desperate enough to try and spray the champagne today? Ooh, he's right up behind him. Looking at Masters maybe. Comes back into the racing line. Down towards Renault. Covering off the inside. Williams doesn't want to let him have any sort of chance at it. Doesn't cover it off as much here into Vodafone. And back around down towards Hans Ernst. And Hovdal's definitely got a shot here.
He does. That was Trangrade with a big wiggle coming off at the corner. That's going to be Hovdal. He's got the inside line, and he's got it through Hans Ernst.
On the last lap, which for this man is going to be a celebratory last lap. Alex Millward taking the lead at the start, and the victory here today as he crosses the line. Win in round 6 for Alex Millward. De Turk in 2nd, and Williams squeaks through in 3rd with Hovdal beating out Trangrade.
An amazing defensive drive there from Paul Williams. That 3rd place most certainly deserved here today.
Quite a race for Freckleton, gaining 4 positions, although he could have been a little bit higher, just didn't have the wherewithal on his defense to hold back some fast comers. As Suarez is behind him in 9th there on screen. They come across the line. See a little bit of a fight back for 14th as well. This is Coriani and Guerrero.
Yeah, just trying to see if there's anything there for Guerrero to get. They come their way out of Kumho, make their way through Liondyke for that last time, coming on to the main straightaway. And I think they're going to stay the way they are.
Indeed, only 20 drivers of our 34 will finish on the lead lap today, which is going to take us to a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12-Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Round 6 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series gave us some great fights for the podium, but up at the front, Alex Millward took his second win of the season, coming back from a no score and a 1-point score in the last 2 rounds. De Turk as well, getting himself well into the hunt with that one, his first podium of the season. Paul Williams managing third after experiencing quite a bit of pressure throughout this race. Hovdahl was fourth behind him, but only just because he passed Trangrade on the final lap. Trangrade with a top 5 after starting from third. Phil Lake, he looked like he could have been maybe even one of the fastest this race, but a single mistake meant he had to settle for 6th. Seppa was 7th as Freckleton was P8. Then you've got Suarez in the 9th spot and Daniel Banker up to 10th.
In 11th, it was Christophe Dubois, followed by Luc Barba, with Cristiano Carini and Fabio Guerrero in 14th. Pekka Carrara was in 15th, followed by Pekka Risto, and Keith Herner was in 17th. 18th was Kyle Reed and Miguel Moreland, 19th, with your first car finishing a lap down, Robert Simpkins in 20th.
Tackabury 21st, as Barry West was behind him in 22nd. Was a bit of a tumultuous day for the 18 car. Abrota 23rd, as Orel was 24th. And you got Kraus, Massa, Reed, Valenzuela, and Morin. From there on down, it is retirees today. But up at the front, Michael de Turk finding his way into second, although he started on pole. We'll see if he is proud of that or not, because still claiming his first podium of the season has got to feel good. Michael, first podium, but just started on pole. Is it mixed feelings on that one? Would you rather have the win, or are you just happy to get a good one under your belt?
Only happy to get a good one out under my belt. There's been a few spins this season. So bogging the launch and losing first right there to Alex isn't really that big of a deal to me. It would have been really, really hard to keep him behind for any amount of distance. So
you didn't have any spins, didn't really see much in the way of problems, although we didn't check in on you all too often with not a lot happening. What do you feel like made the difference today compared to those previous races?
I tried to take it, I don't want to say easy, because obviously I was driving hard, but I tried to concentrate on being consistent rather than being fast. I get caught up in the delta bar at the top of the screen and like to pretend I'm Vettel and go for the fastest lap in the last, 6 laps every single time. And I didn't do that today. So I think that, getting into my own head a little bit helped a lot.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a better way to switch around. It is a race. It does take going quick for all the laps, but you managed that podium, and that obviously will help you in the championship. But we're now into the latter half, including heading off to the older Silverstone with a historic layout. That's going to be another swift one like this place. How you feel about going there?
I like Silverstone. I don't think it's my best track. For some reason, I seem to be better at tracks where the walls are really close. Zandvoort, Detroit, Long Beach. But, always show up and do my best.
Well, we look forward to that. Best, anybody you want to give a shout out to for this second place?
I was really pumped to see Paul Williams get a third place result there. I know he's had good pace this season and has had kind of a string of bad luck with maybe some midfield starts where he got tapped, but that was cool to see him get the last spot on the podium.
He worked hard for that one too. When you go back and watch this one, that was
I look forward to it.
Yeah, awesome. That was Michael DeTurk, second place today, and I believe our winner is joining us, and DJ is going to talk to Alex Millward.
Alex, you got the jump off of the start. Talk me through from that moment on. You know, you got a little pressure early, and then it looks like you just ran away.
All right, guys. Yeah, it was a good start off the line. Some good battling with Michael DeTurk there. Luckily, the tyres came up quicker, so I could attack a bit more. But yeah, so it was good fun.
Well, I was going to actually ask you about in terms of setup. You know, it looked like there were some guys that were coming back and forth. Were you kind of on a mid-range setup where you faced a little bit more towards speed, or maybe a higher downforce level?
Higher downforce for sure. I think I was topping 250k on the home straight, so not too fast in a straight line. Just picked up the community set and went with that with a couple of changes on it. Nothing too drastic.
Well, I'd say it worked out for you well today. Now, obviously, this is going to pull you closer to our championship pair up front, but not quite close enough. Do you think that this is, to take the lead rather, do you think this is the start of maybe a midseason comeback for you, and are you eyeing that championship?
No, I'm just taking every week as it comes. I'm just kind of doing it when I can, really. So I probably won't be available for the rest of the season as much as I hope to be. Maybe some midweek races, but we'll see.
Well, we'll be watching for sure. Alex, anybody you'd like to thank for this win here today?
Just Phil for racing, coming in. That was good fun. All the day talk and all CTC and you guys, what you do every week. Cheers, guys.
Cheers as well. That was Alex Millward, your winner here today. And now I believe Joe Peak has caught up with Paul Williams.
Indeed. We even heard Michael DeTurk congratulate Paul on his first podium of the season as well. Paul, are you covered in sweat right now? Because you certainly had to deal with some fast drivers trying to overtake you today.
Yeah, how did you guess? Yeah, it was seriously sweaty stuff out there for me today. As you could probably tell, I didn't have the best balance. So, you know, from midway through the race, it was just so hard to keep the thing pointing in the right direction and get through that last chicane. But yeah, great race. Great race with the guys.
Did you have quite a bit of top end on it? Because it looked to us, the drivers that were behind you couldn't even catch you in the slipstream down the front stretch.
Yeah, I was just going for a classic Andy T tactic of get out front, low downforce, and just hold everyone up. No, it was, I've been trying to sort of, you know, run with lower downforce sets so I can compete with the top guys, because usually my setups are too sort of safe. And then I just worked all week. Well, I did 2 hours practicing, just doing 4 or 5 laps at a time, trying to get a balance with top speed. And I think I was getting about 260 kph, which was a good 10 miles an hour faster than most people. And it didn't feel too bad in the corners on that qualifying setup, but it didn't translate into a race setup. And yeah, that was the result. So I literally not done more than 4 or 5 laps, you know, in a sequence before that race.
Wow, that's really impressive then. I mean, knowing that, do you plan to try and keep going in that direction on your setups in future races?
Yeah, definitely got to keep doing that. I did that in Road Atlanta and it was really working well until I launched Alex after he come off. But yeah, that's definitely the way forward. Maybe not as extreme today, because, you know, it was just way too much today. But, you know, in that direction, definitely. I even, you know, before the race started, I just put a load of clicks on, because I thought it wasn't going to be safe. So I put sort of 6 clicks of downforce on. It still didn't make much difference. So yeah.
Oh, goodness. I don't know how you guys drive those cars that way. Regardless, anybody you want to give a thank you to for this first podium?
Yeah, I got so many people. First of all, my wife for supporting me in this crazy, time-consuming hobby. The broadcast is on when we put the kids to bed, so it's great that she supports me in that. And all the guys, Michael, Timu, helping me out from the start. Andy has given me a few pointers here and there as well. Actually, quite a few. So yeah, just the whole community as always, and you guys for doing a fantastic broadcast. I think some of the pieces of commentary that you guys do are fantastic, and I go back and watch them from seasons ago.
Oh, well, thank you very much. We appreciate the kind words. That was Paul Williams, third place. He'll have to keep the kids up one of these days to watch the broadcast with him. In the meantime, staying up late to talk to Phil Lake, we've got DJ Clark, who saw all of his ups and downs.
Yeah, Phil, a bit of an up and down race for you. I hate to see you have that spin-off, but some good battles throughout.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised the spin didn't happen sooner, to be honest. I jumped into this race kind of last minute, and that was so much fun, battling through from, I think I started 8th, and picked up some positions early, and then fought my way through up to behind Paul, and then it was so hard to pass him. He finally kind of made a little bit of a mistake, and I just had to take my chance there, and then I caught Michael later on. I would have taken a podium at the start if you'd offered me one, and then second was just too shiny, and I was like, oh, I've got to give it everything to try and get this second place, and that was my undoing today.
So were you on basically just full attack mode the entire time? There was, as the kids would say, there was no chill in your driving today.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just, I'm not in the championship, so when I do show up, I'm just going for it. There's no harm in having a go, and I respect these guys are in a championship, so you don't want to be making moves that are going to take people out. But I'm still going to try and make all the positions I can.
Well, you certainly made it entertaining for us, Phil. Anybody you'd like to thank here for this 6th place?
Yeah, Alex, on a good win today, and he shared a set with me before the race. So yeah, thanks to him.
Well, thank you, Phil. That was Philip Lake, your 6th place driver here today. Joe?
That's going to wrap us up, and we want to give a big thank you to the Lotus 79 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage, as well as the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast that you can see listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, DJ, Ryan, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. Also, please check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC and keep a link in the description below. While you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. The next race will be at Silverstone Sunday, August 1st at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. A little later this evening, get ready to go old school once again as the Purell NASCAR Cup Series goes to North Wilkesboro. That'll be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.